Who actually needs a 4x4 vehicle? Well, if you live out here in the glorious countryside or on a farm, then perhaps yes. But before 4x4s became fashionable, most of us managed perfectly well without them. These days, they're used for the school run, the shopping trip, and the nearest most of them come to being off-road is when they're parked on the curb. Now, over the years, most manufacturers have had a dabble at the 4x4 market, some more successfully than others. One company that has had reasonable success is Vauxhall with the Frontera. Well, now it's time for a new Frontera, and if you're wondering where it is, this is it. Honest, if we put an old-style Frontera alongside this new one, you'd be hard-pressed to tell the difference, but we're told it is an all-new car. Every single body panel has been redesigned and is new. It has a freshly restyled interior and 2 new engines. The Frontera is a car I've always quite liked the look of. It never quite made it into the big boys league alongside the Discovery and Shogun, but when it was introduced, it more or less had the budget 4x4 market to itself. Well, of course, now there are lots of competitors. The RAV4, Honda CR-V, Jeep Cherokee, and of course, the superb Freelander, all tough cookies in their own right. But we've decided today that rather than take the Frontera and give it a road test, have it nipping about town, parking outside our favourite wine bar, we'd bring it out here, into the countryside where this sort of car was of course designed for, and take it green laning, and dare I say, get it a bit muddy. Mike, what's the first rule to follow if you want to take your vehicle off-road?
People who buy four-wheel drive vehicles, if they want to explore green roads, they need to think long and hard about it before they actually turn off the tarmac down some inviting green lane that they just happen to come across. And the main thing to do is ensure that it is actually a public highway.
So where do you find out where green lanes are?
I think the first thing to advise is, before people are tempted to turn off the tarmac and explore some inviting country lane that they happen to find, is to establish firstly where exactly they can go, and whether or not that lane in particular, or any other for that matter, is a public highway and carries public vehicular rights. And the best way to do that is probably to join an organisation such as the Green Lanes Association or LARA, the Motoring Association's Land Access and Recreation Association. And people can find the details for both of those organisations in most four-wheel drive magazines.
Every now and then the media seem to report that there are problems with too many 4x4 vehicles going off-road and green laning. Is this actually really a serious problem for you?
The number of people using motorised vehicles on unsealed highways is very, very small. You could say that if a lot of people chose to buy their four-wheel drive vehicle and dash off down the nearest green lane, then there would be a problem. But equally, that would apply to everybody who possesses a pair of walking boots, or everybody who owns a horse. And the truth of the matter is that there are such a small number of people using green lanes that there really isn't a problem.
Is it better to go green laning on your own, or do you go with a group, 2 or 3 cars? What's the best sort of situation you would advise?
I think some of the problems that may occur in people's minds is that they envisage great convoys of these shiny vehicles intruding into the countryside from the towns and bringing traffic jams with them, when if you want to explore green lanes, you really should be wanting to get out into the countryside. And the prime reason for exploring green lanes should really be to get into the countryside, not to see what your motor can do. And the best way of exploring them, to enjoy the peace and quiet of the countryside, is by yourself or with another vehicle, preferably with another vehicle for safety, for if you have a breakdown or something like that. And personally, I'd take the view that 2's company and 3's a crowd.
Some points that we've noticed whilst driving the Frontera, both on-road and off it. In low ratio, the Frontera is higher geared than a Land Rover, which came as a bit of a surprise. The engine braking isn't as good either, which could be an issue if you intend to take your car on fairly ambitious routes. The suspension travel seemed very good. We also liked the idea of the fold-away wing mirrors, which, if you're in tight circumstances, could be very useful. We didn't like, though, the power bulges on the wings. For instance, a Land Rover is square, so you always know exactly how wide your car is. The Frontera, with those extra inches, extra millimetres on the wings, just gives you a bit extra to think about, particularly if you're going green laning. So if you really want to take your 4x4 off-road, or green laning as the correct term should be, and risk a few dents and scratches along the way, just remember those tips from Mike Taylor that we heard earlier. Always check that the lane is public right-of-way and not private. Otherwise you'll probably have some irate farmer chasing after you. 4x4 magazines will give you the best spots to take your vehicle. Also, we've been testing the new Frontera today, and as you can see, it's coped admirably in all the situations we've put it through. Not tremendously testing, but it's a car that you can feel confident in, and we managed to get it a little bit dirty.